Welcome back, John Morris Show on this, the bonus show on a Wednesday afternoon over the noon hour. We are live at the Brazos Landing. Pleased to be joined by Jake Spavital, Baylor's offensive coordinator. Appreciate your time. Busy time for you, and sorry to throw one more thing on your plate, but it'd be great to catch up with you. How would you say overall, offensive side of things, how has spring been for you so far?
Yeah, it's been great so far. Just with spring, like you forget that we're a brand new team.
Yeah.
Like you have really a brand new offensive line, a new quarterback. There's some familiarity at some positions with like our running back room. We have some more tight ends that are now like a part of our program, and also like the receiver position as well. We've had some pretty good additions. So we've been doing really base with our install, just kind of doing day one type of stuff just to see what they're capable of doing. It's like I was talking to you a little bit earlier, it's just you're throwing all sorts of run schemes at them. We're doing pin and pull and gap schemes and outside zone schemes and inside zone. And we're trying to figure out what they're good at. And, are we going to be more of an athletic offensive line? Are we going to be more of a power offensive line? But it's also, I'm a big choice route guy. I do a lot of choice routes, and it takes a lot. It's a tedious process. And like normally when you get new guys in, that's kind of a growing pain with like a lot of these kids because I give them so much freedom. And once they kind of understand how you just got to get open and find grass, it's really fun to watch that develop and hit. And we've been really just doing that and just working on our culture and getting to know these guys as best as we can.
Good. So obviously a learning process in the spring for the new guys and even the returning guys with changes. But for you as coaches, it's kind of a learning process there too, learning about who you have and what you have heading into the fall.
Yeah, and when you're looking at just like our personnel, like it's just it used to be back in the day, like when you would be recruiting receivers, right? And like it'd be like, hey, I need a fast guy at X, and I can have a little gadget guy at H, and my Y's got to be a powerful guy, my Z's got to be a bigger body type guy. Well, with the portal and everybody moving, you just try to get your hands on the best players you can get your hands on, right? And like last year I had Ashton Hawkins and Cole Wilson, and they're two 5'8" receivers that are really fast, and then you have Michael Trigg, who's 6'5", and Josh Cameron, who's 6'4". So you have these two like just extremes, and we kind of have that now. We have Lewis Brown, a receiver, who's a very dynamic guy. He's taller, bigger, but already familiar with the program. He was here last year and redshirted. But then you have Gavin Freeman, who's a tiny little 5'8" kid that came from Oklahoma State, who's just a little gadget guy. So you're trying to figure these guys out, and that's like the hardest part for us. But what you do is you just throw it all at them, and you see what like just comes out of it all. And but luckily with our coaching staff, like we've all been together. There's we all know the breaking points of every single play and what we're looking for, and so you really spend more time focusing on our personnel than really just kind of the scheme of everything.
I got you. Is that fun for you? Do you like mixing and meshing and making it the best that it can be?
Yeah, because I think every year it can be a new look of your offense, and I'm always looking for that. And the main thing, too, I believe good play callers put their kids in the best position of what they're capable of and what they're good at and you rep it a lot where, they don't have to hesitate and they can play fast. So, that's really kind of like what we're focusing on is just like how fast, like, can we get these guys to play where they're not thinking and getting open and what they're good at, and we can keep putting them in those positions. But it's a lot of up and down early because you throw a play out there and you be like, all right, they can't do this. We just need to scratch this one and move on to something else.
So you're a coach on the offensive side that you're willing to adapt to who you have and the strengths that you have. Are there any things that you're set in that, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to make this work? Are you completely adaptable to making it fit the best for your players?
It's probably a 50-50 type of deal. Like I'm very adamant about our wide splits and making them defend, every blade of grass on the field is what, like how we kind of explain it. But, just with the choice routes that we do and the freedom with the quarterbacks checking and that's always going to be who we are. But you look at DJ Lagway, and he's a big 6'5", 230-pound kid right now, and you can add a lot of short yardage type of runs with him. Like the kid's very athletic, so like you're starting to add like a little bit of quarterback run element into our offense this year, which is pretty fun to watch. Those are the things that you're trying to build a little bit off of, but. again, I love the choice routes. I love the freedom, and Baylor's very familiar with that. Been around for a long time. For these choice routes.
Right.
And I just think that it's such a tough thing to defend if these kids just know how to get open. So I'm always going to be adamant with running that.
Good. Talk a little bit more about choice routes. How you got to have some structure there, but then how much freedom do those receivers have after that?
Yeah. So normally I'm going to have a choice route on each side of the field.
Okay.
Right, each side of the offensive line, and
one guy or more than one with
guy.
choice.
If you start doing two on one side, you start doing each other,
right.
Because their goal is to find the grass, that
Gotcha.
whatever coverage. Now, right now, defenses are throwing so many different coverages at you. Majority of the time, we see a new coverage almost every play.
Wow.
All right, so you'll see man and cover 3 and cover 2 and quarters and 2-man and all sorts of stuff where you just tell, all right, hey, you're the inside receiver and you have the choice route, and you're going to make your decision either at 5 yards, or you're on the, if we call this one, you're making your decision about 10 to 12, or you're making your decision at 15, and you can shut it down, you can post it, you can keep it right up the seam, you can run a box fade. You can just give eyes and throttle if you're just open from the start. So there's a little bit of the learning curve of that.
Sure.
But once they understand, what the coverage is and the leverage is, these guys can typically find grass, and the ball can get out of the quarterback's hand a lot faster. So you're not giving up so many sacks. And we've been one of the top in the country over the last few years of just, a low amount of sacks, because a lot of it's choice routes and you can get the ball out of your hand.
Nice.
quickly.
And that takes a quarterback that can react to what's going on when you don't really know what's going to happen when the ball is snapped.
Right.
You feel like you got that in DJ Lagway?
Yes. DJ's, man, he's been phenomenal so far. I love, working with him, watching him do it. He's never done choice routes before. And just watching him, understand the timing and making sure that you're in position to throw, because these routes can hit, pretty quickly,
right.
or it actually can be where you have to hold on to it a little bit longer and then get through your progression if you need be. So, a lot of the times the new quarterbacks at choice routes, they want to hang on that route the entire time, and sometimes you got to move on to your next progression and get down. But and he's fun to just throw it at him. He's wanting me to challenge him all the time. His arm strength is really good, so you can actually hit a lot of these field throws now. We were out there the other day, and he threw a whole shot to the field, which I haven't had a quarterback in a long time to be able to do that, which is just shows you what type of arm strength that he has.
Yeah.
But he's played a lot of games. You've seen him play. I think he started 20 games at Florida, roughly around there. So 20 games in the SEC. He's got a lot of experience. He's seen a lot of different style of play too. So. He's having fun out there. You can see the experience. You can see the arm strength. You can see the anticipation of him getting through progressions and checking it down to backs. So I just got to keep challenging him and see where we can evolve his game. And very fortunate to work with him.
He's got a quick release also, doesn't he?
Very quick release.
Right,
yes.
right. And the arm strength to go along with that. And what else? The run game with him. I mean, he's such a big guy. That kind of adds another element of what he can bring to the offense.
Yeah, and especially in the short yardage stuff, which I think is one of the hardest things to do, is when you get to those 4th and 1, 4th and 2. But with the element of the QB run and the force that he has, because he's a massive kid, and he can move really fast as well. And we've been messing around with that, and there's been times where he's had to get north and south, and he's knocking over offensive linemen as he's trying to get the first down, and you forget how big he is,
right?
And I think that's going to be a great element. But it's also he can extend plays and he can scramble well. And I've had a few that can do it. I had Will Greer, West Virginia, could do it. Johnny Manziel won a Heisman doing a lot of that, and he's kind of has that element to extend plays too. So we've been teaching scramble drill like crazy, because that's where some home run shots can happen. And DJ's got that capability, so it's going to be fun to watch him evolve.
I was going to ask you, who's he like with his combination? Big guy, can run, cannon for an arm, quick release. Who's he like that maybe you've been around?
Yeah, we've been Coach Holcomb and I, our quarterback coach with me, and we've been trying to think about this. I don't think I've coached a kid this talented.
Okay.
In terms of, I've been fortunate with guys like Kyler Murray and Johnny, but they're smaller, and they had a little bit of vision issues at times, so you had to spread it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then I've had Brandon Whedon and Davis Webb, that are big 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" guys, and with great arm strength. So it's kind of you got a mixture of them all right now. And his release is really quick. There's a reason why he was a 5-star, coming out of high school, and he's got all the intangibles, and you know, it's just a pleasure to work with him right now. But I couldn't really tell you who he's like really.
Yeah, he's his own guy.
He's just, you know, he's DJ Lagway.
That's great. And it seems like he's settled in well, and he likes Baylor. Is the feeling. We did a sit down with him, and it seems like he really likes being here. The legacy with his dad, you know, who I saw at a practice last week. That's cool. It seems like it's fun for him and a good spot for him here at Baylor.
Yeah, he loves it. Very familiar with the place. And I believe, like in one of his interviews, he talked about he's living his childhood dream. You know, he wanted to play here. You know, you grow up wanting to be like your dad. Really cool seeing you know, Derek Sr. like running around at practice at times when he like brings, you know, recruits over, or and then you also see Rodney Smith as well. You know, so you're seeing like these kind of great players that pass with their sons that are here that are going to be really good players. And you know, DJ's just a very humble kid. You know, and just to be that, you know, high of like a ranked quarterback coming out of high school, and the criticism that you get and the praise that you come along the way, he handles it great. You can tell that, you know, his dad has been a very vocal part and training him on that, and he's just a phenomenal kid. And like that's why like I'm rooting for him to have a ton of success.
Yeah, great. Same here. Excited to have him here. Excited for the offense. Talk about your running backs. Where do things stand now in that running backs room?
Well, we have Dawson Pendergrass coming back,
which is great.
And we've been easing him into it, and he looks great out there as well.
Good.
And just trying to get him back acclimated and not putting too much pressure and stress, like, you know, on his injury. Even though he's fully healed, you know, we're still being very cautious of everything that he's doing. But it's been a great opportunity for these other backs to get reps. Like you have Caden Knight, and then you got Mike Turner. Those guys, you know, played significant amount of time last year, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. So we've been getting after them a lot, and, you know, and they've been like, you know, accepting the challenge, and they've been doing some great things. But you also got Rylan Morrison, who's a highly recruited high school kid who, you know, starting to get acclimated to the speed. You know, like it's always kind of with running backs, you got to sit in there and like take on a blitzing linebacker from depth, which isn't the most ideal thing for a guy in his first day of practice. But man, he's been doing great, and we've also got Ja'Cory Watson in that room now too a little bit. So fun watching that kind of group work. Coach Keenan Hall does a great job with them. But, you know, mainly it's great to see Dawson Pendergrass back out there on the grass.
Yeah, I kept, you know, seeing him on the scooter for the most part last year, and I would say to him every chance I got, man, we miss you out there. And it seemed like he did a good job keeping his head up. I know he wanted to be out there because he got hurt. He got hurt really early, didn't he? It was in fall camp.
About a week into fall camp.
Yeah. How much did you miss him? How much could you welcomed him out there last year?
Yeah, just the presence that he has.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not just with the ability with the ball in his hand that like everybody sees him making the big plays, making people miss, but just the pass protection and the route running. He's just an all-around running back, and you know, I thought he was really hitting his stride. You know, he was a freshman All-American before I got here, and he had a great year for me in 24, and we were expecting big things in 25, and unfortunately that injury occurred, but you know, it moves on. He's handled it well. A lot of people don't handle injuries well, and he's been very optimistic about it, and I think he's ready to get back into stride for this 26 season.
Good. In the line, there's a lot of new faces in there. You feel like everybody's coming together like you want them to there?
Yeah, that's probably the funnest one to watch because, like, you have the Siraki brothers back, which you know, we know what they're capable of doing, and they're good players. You know, Caden Siraki has played over 1,000 snaps in the Big 12, and he's getting better every single day. You know, and Colton Siraki, Stump. You know, he's played a lot. We're playing him at guard, and we're playing him at center, but we have all new faces from there. Like you have Logan Moore, you got Asher, Logan, you got Nate Kibble, you have Yak, you got all these guys up front. That, are fun watching Cole Rett. These guys have all played at other levels, and we're moving them around like crazy. They're playing left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. They just go right down the line, and we just move guys in and out because we're going to find the best five to put out there on the field that we're comfortable with.
Nice. All right, final question. 10 practices in the spring. You got 5 more left. Got to practice tomorrow, I think, and then a pretty good scrimmage on Saturday. And do you feel like you're where you want to be right now, or what would you like to still see happen over those next 5 practices?
Yeah, I think with the install, like we're where we want to be. Like we can get into any formation that you want, like from empty to unbalanced, and there's no questions or hesitation about it. You this Saturday, like we only moved the ball about 3 times, spring in the 15 practices, and I want to see the tempo.
Okay.
I want to see him play, and because we're always scripting and we're always being very stationary, which is a really good thing for offense and defense. But I think our biggest weapon is when the tempo that we play with, and that's something that I want to see them just kind of like buy into and just understand that we can dictate the pace of play. So just play as fast as you can and make it an exciting style of football. And the first time we moved it, they were so out of gas and they're just dead tired. Which normally happens, but they also know that the defense can base down and they can't do as much exotic pressures or twists or stunts of all the time. So that's something that I want to see moving forward, is really just focusing on the tempo that we play with.
Gotcha. Well, so great to visit with you. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Get a little sample the menu here at the Brazos Landing while you're here. And I know you got to go back to work, but thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Jake.
All right, Jake Spavital is with us, Baylor's offensive coordinator. Great to get his thoughts as Baylor works through spring practice and the spring finale. Not a game, but the spring finale is Saturday week, the 25th. Sort of an open practice and give folks a look at DJ Lagway and everybody there, right? But not a game. Don't come expecting a game on that day, right?
Yeah, you'll see a bunch of one-on-ones,
okay,
and some 7-on-7 type stuff.
Okay.
But, today's time, you have to eliminate the impact right there and just make sure that we get everybody healthy to the fall.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Thanks again for your time.
I appreciate
Jake
it.
Spavital with us. We appreciate him. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's look at the other side. That is the defense. And Joe Klanderman will join us here live from the Brazos Landing. We'll have that when we come back. Stay with us. Bonus John Morris Show live from the Brazos Landing on this Wednesday over the noon hour. And we'll be right back.